Who the fuck is that guy?
I thought it was fitting, especially considering, um, I have my microphone on, and you got to hear a real loud burp there, so I do apologize there. Welcome in, everybody. Joe Quill's with you here, and it's going to be one of those nights, I can tell. But since Ecuador and Mexico is delayed, you know, you know, maybe pay attention to me here. So, but we got a lot to talk about here tonight. It's a little bit of deja vu all over again. LeBron is going to be a free agent. Well, he actually is a free agent because apparently because free agency started at 6 o'clock tonight in the NBA. Kawhi Leonard's going back to Toronto. And Serena Williams took to the grass courts of Wimbledon today. Now, one of the things is not like the other part of the show, which I did not detail in the notes, especially if you're watching on my YouTube at Joe Quills. And give me some love. Whether it's my Twitch, which is my preferred streaming platform. I think that's on there, right? Yeah, my Twitch is on there, my Threads, my YouTube, my TikTok, all that fun stuff. So give them all a follow, and let me know everything there. So, and also for those that are watching on the other channels, other platforms tonight, go on over to Twitch, because you know what, you can click on all those links, because I'm a bit of a snob with some of the stuff here. But anyway, so we'll get to all those stories here. We had a first blowout at the World Cup today. France defeated Sweden 3-0. And Norway scored a late goal to win 2-1 over Ivory Coast. I was hoping for some ivory soap, but oh wait, ivory soap doesn't go. Oh. Anyway, so then Mexico and Ecuador, they're planning to start at 10 o'clock. They have thunderstorms in the area in Mexico City right now, so that's why they're delayed. Tomorrow we have England against Congo. We have Belgium and Senegal at 4. And the U.S. takes on Bosnia and Herzegovina at 8. Of course, I will probably be out in this heat that we have here. So, also some breaking news for the horse racing peeps that are probably going to watch this later on. Ton of scratches, a ton of cancellations and changes all up and down the East Coast, and actually the eastern half of the country. For example, Horseshoe Indianapolis canceled tomorrow. Belterra in Cincinnati canceled tomorrow. Parks will push up their card to 10:45 a.m. first post. Delaware Park first post is at 11 a.m. Colonial Downs pushed their post up early and hoping to get everything done by 2. Got a lot of changes, a lot of things that they're trying to do to get races in before it gets too hot. And also, don't be surprised if some of these tracks do cancel last minute, because it is going to be probably one of the hottest stretches in recorded history of Philadelphia weather, because they're calling for at least the local news. But local weathercasters do tend to follow the whole news thing of if it bleeds, it leads. Um, they are calling for not one, not two, not three, but potentially days of 100-degree weather. I think we've never had more than 2 in a row. They're calling for 4. My electric bill will be through the roof next month. Thankfully, that will be coming. Well, that'll be coming at the end of the month, end of July. So, but I will say this to you guys: if you're affected by the heat, stay inside, stay hydrated. I'm supposed to go to the Pennyback Festival tomorrow night, and I'll throw a little shade at them. If you want to share this to them, go right ahead. I don't care, because the guy who's the MC is a total asshole. I mean, he's probably the only MC or PA guy that's worse than Dan Baker. And he tells you, "Oh, we don't talk politics here," but he tells you, "Stand up, remove your hats, uh, keep your mouth shut during the anthem." Yeah, don't give Dan Baker any ideas, because guess what? He'll tell everybody to shut up, and he'll tell everybody that you have to sing like you're in a third world country. But that Republican bullshit doesn't fly with me, and also the Democrat shit doesn't fly with me either. But you know, I just think that we need to be a little sensitive to, like, some people not being able to get up out of their chairs. I always feel like there's a better way to present your case, present your situation. Like, for example, if let's say if I were the MCPA guy um, for the Pennypack Music Festival, I'd be like, please refrain from talking during. I mean, the way that I am, and probably why I would never be a PA announcer, is the fact that I would probably be like, can we reword this in such a way? Like, for example, Dan Baker, he loves that he tells veterans to salute. That draft dodging motherfucker. And the worst part is, you know, you got a militant guy in Donald Trump, a nut job. You know, you want to go to the very top and tell somebody not to order our veterans to salute because somebody who hasn't served, telling you to salute. But then again, Trump's a draft dodger too. But that's the end of the political talk here. And the one thing I will say is, I will say that um, I am an equal opportunity basher. I in my voting card may say that I'm Democrat, but I feel like I'm an open-minded person. So, and I'm not like most people these days where, oh, you're wrong, or they believe bullshit rhetoric from either side of the thing. My eyes roll just as bad, just as hard over left-wing rhetoric as it does right-wing rhetoric. So, just to let you guys know about that. So, but um, but yeah. So we are. if you're getting ad breaks, I am an affiliate, but for whatever reason, I thought I turned them off in the short term. But if they do pop on, um, let me just. Twitch. There we go. And it is fireworks night here at the ballpark tonight. Phillies are up 8-0 on the Pittsburgh Pirates. And there we go. Because I do plan, just for those that are watching, I do plan on using the I plan on using them when it comes to I do plan on using them, especially when I start streaming out Park Baseball. Like, all right, we're going to take a break here, be right back in 2-2, or something like that. But we have breaking news out of South Philadelphia. The Philadelphia Phillies are your 2026 Poop Series champions. They win the night 8-0. They win the series 4-1 with 2 games to go, which you still have to play because it's the regular season. But congrats to the Phillies, Poop Series champions, or however we want to phrase that. So congrats to them. So yeah. So I think the Phillies and Pirates should have a score bug, because you do have the Vetter Cup, which is Seattle and San Diego this year. I think originally it was Seattle and Chicago. But I think what you need to do is you need to have a score bug that's poop, P00P, and the winner gets to hold on to that for the year. Kind of like the Stanley Cup, but only better. But that's just me. But the Phillies are victorious tonight. The lead is down to 3, and the Braves are losing, so it might be down to 2.5 tonight. Look out, Braves, we're coming. We may have to lead by the All-Star break. I shouldn't say we, because I'm not technically part of the team, but I am a fan of the team and all that. But I try to be careful with my verbiage, because it is I should be saying they, but I'm more worried about pronouns when it comes to the horses. I can't tell you how many times I had to stop myself. I was like, no, this is a filly that's running here. This ain't a boy, this is a girl. Or vice versa, because sometimes I'll put she for a male horse. It's like, no, he didn't transition. Horses don't know how to transition from girls to boys. But yeah, so that is going on as well. So let's get to the news that was happening today. And tell me if you've heard this before, but LeBron is a free agent. He told the Lakers today that he's not coming back. And, at least he told them he's not coming back. Because, we know from the beginning of his career when he had that hour-long special on ESPN many years ago where he said, "I'm taking my talents to South Beach." Um, but you know, it was what it was. So, um, but LeBron said he is returning for an unprecedented 24th year. However, it will not be for the Lakers. James informed the Lakers that the franchise can move on without him because he will play elsewhere. Um, Chairman of the board is here. How you doing? And yes, we are creeping up on you. We're creeping up on you. Phillies have had the best record since Don Mattingly took over. And I think Don Mattingly has had a history of having these insane hot streaks with the Dodgers, and then all of a sudden when October comes around, but we don't want that in October here in Philly. And I don't have the sound drop for it. We want somebody at the beginning of November when there's a parade to pull a Chase Utley and say World Effing Champions. But yeah, so that that's really been, we are creeping up little by little, and you got to have a willing participant to lose like the Braves are right now, and a willing participant to be closing like the town on the turf. And that's a reference that chairman of the board won't get, but my horse racing stuff that I do here. The town did one of the horses that was in the Q&A racing stables. It's a fictional stable, but I've bought my way into a horse that has not been named yet. It's a 2-year-old down in South Florida. The leader of Q&A racing and Q&A Sports Zone, AJ, he's got pieces of 6 or 7 horses right now, or 6 or something like that. I can't keep track with the stuff that he has, but at least I try to. But going back to the LeBron thing here, so LeBron said the franchise can move on without him. Now, is this maturity or But it seems like Golden State is the team that is rumored the most. And I said this last night with Mike when he was here, how everybody everybody seemed to be saying Golden State. Or what I was trying to say is, last couple of years, Golden State would call the Lakers, "Hey, is LeBron available for trade?" No? Okay, goodbye. And sometimes you do have a um, sometimes you do have that um, you do have that moment where you are trying, you catch a team off guard, and it's like, what are you offering? Now, what are you offering doesn't necessarily mean that you're trading. But even with LeBron, he had a no trade clause in his contract as well. So, but um, but I did see today. I saw it somewhere today, and you know, um, let me see if I can find it here. Um, he did say today. Um, at least I thought I did. that he was close to home right now, which lends people to believe that he is going to the Lakers. I mean, back to Cleveland. Now, I don't know if that's somebody that said that somebody said something about that, but I couldn't find it. So, um, but but it looks like that Golden State has an opportunity to reel him in for what may be one final season. And he's already going to set another record playing in his 24th year. And it's a stats accumulator that he has. But the one thing I will say is, and part of the reason why nobody's really played 24 years in the NBA except for him when next season starts, I think that the science and the technology of fitness and keeping yourself healthy and preparing for the next season, stuff like that, things have changed so much over the last couple of years, over the last 5, 10, 15 years. I mean, you look at the early NBA stuff, most of these guys were, and everybody says it about Will Chamberlain, for example. These guys were plumbers and this and going to another job in the off season. Whereas now you play the season, you're making insane amount of money, even after taxes on your car, taxes um, on your salary and stuff. Especially in a place like California. But, and even with the science that's out there, and somehow we never got into, oh, he's taking PEDs or doing anything like that. So we've never had that. But we do have the we do have everybody doing everything here with but and even those that follow LeBron's plan of spending the money for health, fitness, getting yourself in shape for the season, all the things that he did, even that's no guarantee because no two people are the same. What works for LeBron may not work for another NBA player, even if they are a top-notch player. I mean, look at the rash of Achilles injuries over the last couple of years. Things happen. You tear a knee up, you tear Achilles up. Things happen. I mean, we can go into other sports as well. Even though, like, for example, baseball, everybody wants to throw as hard as they can. We've now gotten into a situation now where it's all about throwing as hard as you can. It's now a rite of passage that you get Tommy John surgery. Because the radar gun is out there, and let's see how high I can get this damn thing to go. That's not the way to pitch. It's moving in and out, up and down, all that stuff. It's not about throwing 105, 110 miles an hour or whatever they throw. I mean, Like for example, Aroldis Chapman, we can, I think we can agree that he was a Cuban freak. Everybody was throwing like 97, 98. You occasionally got 100 when he first got into the league. When he got in, it's like 104, 105, 106. It's like, fuck. But little by little, what we think was God-given talent with Aroldis Chapman, everybody's been doing what they can to get um, that radar gun as high as they can get it. And it's and that's and arms are not built to throw to over 100 miles an hour. Whether it's even if even if you never have to have Tommy John surgery, you're still you're still eventually going to lose speed on the fastball. You're not going to throw 100, 105 miles an hour. I mean, I said it joking around, but it's a true point. I wish I threw a baseball like Aroldis Chapman, and I also said I'm jealous of him because you know you lose 5, 6 miles off your fastball, and you're still throwing 97, 98. But you do have all that. But the one thing I did see here, um, Gene Buss said in a statement here, it was published on the Lakers X, I believe. LeBron is one of the greatest athletes in history. We'll always be thankful for his 8 years with the Lakers, including the title he led us to in 2020 under the toughest imaginable conditions and the countless records he broke in purple and gold. All right, I'm going to say this. Everybody wants to give or have already given an asterisk for the Lakers winning a championship in 2020. I give him an asterisk for a different reason than everybody else. I give him an asterisk in a good way, not a bad way. Everybody says, "Oh, you were in the bubble and blah blah blah." Well, guess what? How long did we sit here, confined to our homes, while I was working at home, saying, while we're watching racing from Fonner Park in Nebraska because they were one of the few tracks that were running, and Will Rogers Downs, you know, we're thinking, is this season going to continue? Are we going to get this COVID thing under control? All the different things that we said, along with people saying, well, I don't think we can, or, some people are saying, um, well, we can't do this, oh, I'm not getting the jab or whatever, it's not about that, but the thing is, and I remember when I was in a cab, I think things were loosening up a little bit. Might have been late 2020, early 21 before everything started with getting everybody inoculated. I remember my dad saying, "Yeah, I'm going to get the shot," and rightfully so. He wanted to live as long as he could. Almost made it to 80. And in my case, I took a cerebral approach when I was talking to our Uber driver or taxi driver. I think I used Uber then, but I said, I'll get it. I just want to, and basically live as long as I can as well, where I would get the shot, but I want to see how this reacts to people at first. You know, because of the fact that you know this is something that we had to put together so quickly because it was either come up with something real quick or tons and tons of people are going to die. And there's still a lot of people that died, but but the thing is, we sat here during the spring once everything shut down, and we're thinking, well, we going to have an NBA? Are we going to complete this season, or are we going to scrap it, or are we going to have an NHL playoff, a Stanley Cup playoff, which they had. Nobody says anything about giving. I think it was Tampa Bay that won it year. Nobody talks about giving Tampa Bay uh, giving Tampa Bay a. Yeah, Tampa Bay did win that. Okay, it was Tampa Bay over Dallas in 6 games. So, and that's the thing. Um, everybody wants to give an asterisk for that, but the thing is, those teams that ended up going to Disney, I'm sure a lot of the guys were not in shape, were not really practicing that much. They're with their families, they're in their homes, but then again, I guarantee a lot of the guys who the have the money, have their own fitness areas and basketball courts and whatever. I'm sure they have that, but we also have different things that they do here. So, but you know, I mean, I give an asterisk for a different reason, which is rare because I'm giving an asterisk in a good way, not a bad way, which is hard to believe because I'm probably one of the top LeBron James bashers. Because I don't even think he's second to Michael Jordan. I think he's third or fourth below Kobe Bryant and Wilt Chamberlain. Because I put Wilt Chamberlain up there because even though he only won a couple of titles in his career, I feel like when you change the rules of the game because of somebody, you're one of the greats. But enough about that. Continuing on here with LeBron here. James said, it was truly an honor to wear the Lakers uniform, and that I hope I made a few proud during my stint. And I don't know. And the thing is, when it comes to the NBA, when the Hall of Fame comes around, like for example in baseball, I think they've tried to get away from this where you go in as a member of a particular team. I think Roy Halladay did go in as a Blue Jay, which I had no problem with whatsoever, because he was a Blue Jay before he came to Philly. He led the foundation for that great year in 2010 where he threw 2 no-hitters. But the question is, what do you consider LeBron James? Do you consider him a Cleveland Cavalier because he started the career there, went back and won his title there? Do you consider him a Miami Heat member because he won 2 titles there? Do you consider him a Laker because he spent the most consecutive years with the team? I mean, that's the tough part here. It's trying to figure out what do you consider him, and that's part of the problem with sports. And you have some people who want to be a member of a team their entire career, but LeBron jumped at the chance of going to another team because he wanted to form a super team. and nobody wanted to go to Cleveland, so he went to Miami. But so according to sources familiar with LeBron's thinking, to ESPN's Dave McMenamin, after taking time to decompress and undergo some self-assessment, James came to the conclusion that he wanted to continue playing meaningful and competitive basketball. So, is he saying that the Lakers don't have a chance right now? I mean, if he goes to Golden State, that team gets a ton older as well. I mean, we mentioned last night how Draymond Green opted out of his contract to try to help the cause. But the thing is, they're trying to get Anthony Davis to come back, to come to Golden State to team up with LeBron again. But the Wizards said today that they're not planning on trading him. Now, that could be rhetoric. I think that's the word of the night, rhetoric, because I went on that rant at the beginning of the show. It could be rhetoric, but, if things really get heated and, it's kind of like the $1 Million Man saying everybody's got a price. I'm sure Golden State could really sweeten the pot and really make things difficult for Washington to continue saying no. But, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up in Cleveland. I don't think he goes to the Knicks now because the Knicks won already. But then again, who knows? So James instructed his agent, Rich Paul, to talk to everyone around the league who was interested and come back to him with what the options are so he can make his decision. As long as it's not an ESPN special in the decision, I'm okay with that. But, I mean, I think there's a ton of teams that he won't go to. Brooklyn, maybe Boston, but Boston. I mean, it's also about salary cap issues and things like that. So Philly won't be an option, thank God. But I know what happens. He comes to Philly, 10 games in, he blows out his knee and his career is over. Or something like that. And besides, I'm not changing the picture of Tyrese Maxey there. So, but yeah. So, I mean, it's all about the salary cap, and you got these different aprons and things like that, which I don't understand. And I'm not a basketball front office person, so I don't have to worry about that. But so LeBron did say he's is committed to returning for a 24 season, but has not made any decision to whether this will be his final season in the league. So sources told Shams Charania that Golden State was one of the teams planning to pursue James once free agency window opened earlier tonight. And I mentioned before, Draymond Green declined his option, opening up for the flexibility for the Warriors to pursue James in a possible trade with Washington Wizards for Anthony Davis. And Skate Smart Jay Spears reported today that the Wizards are not interested in moving on from Davis. I don't see LeBron going to Washington. Then again, they did just sign Trae Young to a $50 million a year deal for 4 years, I think it was. But now Warriors decision makers had given no indication Monday afternoon that Golden State is the firm landing spot for James. I mean, I think the way the salary cap is and everything else, I don't think there's going to be many options. The Sixers are out unless they work some miracle deal to go under the cap, but I don't see it happening. I really don't. Um, the Cavaliers and the Heat, as I mentioned before, they're teams that he played for. They're also expected to be in the running. And I mean, this could be his last year, but who knows? But I mean, the Lakers get $52 million in cap space back, but you say he's not coming back, but who knows? But I don't know. I don't know where they're going to go here. So, but I mean, I don't know where LeBron goes. I imagine Golden State because that's the rumor. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of a smokescreen here either. So don't be surprised at that either. But you do have, he does have some options here, and apparently teams still want him. So we'll see what happens there and where that goes. And Blue Jays, you had one job to do, and it was not to lose to the New York Mets. Anyways, so we continue on here. And 1 second here. Okay, so we took care of that. So just to let you guys know, if somebody tried to don't click on that link. Well, you can't click on the link because I got rid of it. But so, anyways, Yogi Berra once said, "It's deja vu all over again." Well, not only is LeBron going to free agency and possibly going back to Cleveland or whatever, doing this old drama queen stuff that he does. Not only do we have that, we also have Kawhi Leonard. Now, granted, well, he's going from a Western Conference team, but it's not San Antonio. He's going from the Clippers back to the Raptors where he won a championship in 2019. And trust me, we know all about that shot. Well, first of all, he traveled. And that ball hit the rim 4 or 5 times before it finally went into the hole, giving Toronto a win in Game 7 against the Sixers. It was probably the best chance that the process had in getting to an Eastern Conference final. But the Clippers did agree to trade Kawhi Leonard to the Toronto Raptors tonight for Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick. So we got White Dick in LA. An unprotected first-round picks in 31 and 33, a 2027 first-round pick swap, and 2 second-round picks, sources told ESPN on Tuesday. And the reason why there's so much for one person, especially somebody who's Mr. Load Management, is because of the fact that he makes $50-some million a year. So that's why that's the case. So the deal marks a return to Canada for the star who led the Raptors to an NBA title in 2019, winning Finals MVP after he averaged 28.5 points per game in a victory over the Golden State Warriors. So He only played one season with the Raptors. He was traded by San Antonio to Toronto in July of 2018 because he had that pissing match with San Antonio over whatever it was. Then left Toronto as a free agent in 2019 and joined the Clippers. That was when Paul George was traded over there as well, like a 2 a.m. deal, 2 a.m. Eastern time deal. So, but the one thing is, but we do have, excuse me, we do have the, what's the words I'm thinking of here? I mean, we did mention LeBron, how he's been able to keep himself mostly healthy with everything here. Kawhi's 35. He does have a knee problem. He doesn't play back-to-back games. He leaves the Clippers following 6 seasons in Los Angeles as the team decides to move toward a younger direction. So LA and Toronto engaged in trade talks over the last couple of weeks with Leonard. He said that he only wanted to sign an extension with Toronto. He preferred to stay with the Clippers, but the franchise made no long-term commitments to him this offseason. So he said, all right, I'm out. See ya. So it just seems like everybody has flown the coop in LA, and Clippers are going to be the 20 and 62 Clippers that we knew and loved back in the day. So there's 3 reasons why Leonard was open to the deal to Toronto. He's familiar with the Toronto organization and a majority of its front office structure in place. It's led by Executive Vice President Bobby Webster. I guess he was in a lower role and then ascended the ladder. Leonard likes the city of Toronto, and he thinks the Raptors can contend in the East. So, and looks like the soccer match is going to start at 10 o'clock here. They are going through the anthems. And one thing I've noticed over the last few years watching soccer here and there, the international matches, whether they're international friendlies, as they call them, or even the World Cup, the third world countries, they sing like the soccer players. It's like, sing it with all your heart, or you're going to face a firing squad when you get back to whatever country you come from. But going back to Kawhi Leonard here, he'll be eligible to sign up to a 2-year, $123.7 million extension with this new team, according to ESPN's Bobby Marks. And Leonard envisions ending his career in Toronto. So, hey, if he likes Toronto and all that, then if Toronto wants to deal with the load management and everything, go right ahead. So now the Clippers were saying as of April at the end of season news conference that the plan was to win with Kawhi, but I don't know what they did, but they ended up pivoting in another direction here. But I mean, James Harden got traded in February. Ivica Zubac was traded to Indiana, but they ended up. And also remember, they did have that. The NBA did also have that investigation about the Clippers circumventing the salary cap, funneling money to Leonard through through his $28 million endorsement deal with green banking company Aspiration, which had a $300 million 23-year endorsement with the team. Now, I mean, they haven't announced the results of this, but they did say that Adam Silver did say that it's time to wrap the investigation up. So I haven't seen anything, but I mean, even when Paul George was there with the Clippers, their time together in LA was marred by injury, load management, and playoff disappointment. But I mean, Ballmer now has his new arena, the Intuit Dome, where he doesn't have to worry about sharing an arena with the Lakers. But this is their third season, but now they don't have anybody worth watching right now. At least nobody that you would want to say, I need to get there. I need to see this team play. But it may be a good opportunity to see a new arena and get to see how they play and all that stuff. So, but yeah, so I don't know how you feel, but I think the Clippers are probably going to be down near the bottom of the league this year. Toronto, I think you have to be careful because load management, injuries, all that stuff that he's had over the years. But if he wants to finish his career there, go right ahead. Now, the one story I have here tonight that does not fit one of these things is not like the others is the fact that the NBA Cup Finals has been announced today. And if you want to go to the NBA Cup Finals this year, you are going to Hinkle Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. Now, I do want to go to Hinkle, but I don't want to go for NBA Cup. I want to go for Butler basketball. And I know you're saying, why do you want to go to Hinkle Fieldhouse? Why do you want to go and see them? Well, here's the reason why. I want to go to Hinkle Fieldhouse because it is a cathedral of college basketball, the same as the Palestra. And I've been to the Palestra a few times. So I would feel it'd be basically the same thing for me. And I could say, well, the Palestra's better or Hinkle's better, or just go to my deathbed saying, I've been to both Hinkle and the Palestra. Thank you, Grandpa. We don't care about that. We care about you giving us your money that you have saved up and stuff like that. But so the NBA is going back to college this coming season. The NBA Cup Championship game will be at Hinkle Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. And also it's a centralized location if you think about it. So it isn't like you have a team going cross country and another one going, a team in the West going like a time zone or whatever. But it seems like, well, also this may be a sign that the NBA schedule may be coming out soon because it's that time of the year. Now, what's happened the last couple of years, and the NHL may be a little behind, may be a little later than usual this year because starting this year with the new collective bargaining agreement, you now have an 84-game schedule, but you're not seeing many hockey players complaining about the 84 schedule because they're hockey players. Whereas, God forbid, if you had an 84-game NBA schedule, everybody would be complaining and load management and shit like that. But But the way that this reads, now that I'm rereading this, it seems like it's only going to be the championship game that goes to Indianapolis. So I don't know if that's the case or not, but we'll find out once the schedule comes out. But Hinkle's one of the oldest arenas in the country. It's iconic and more than fits the bill that Adam Silver and other league officials were looking for when he said the league was searching for storied college arenas to play host to the Cup final. So that would put the Palestra in line if you want to talk about that, even though the seating at the Palestra is 99% 99% benches and not actual seats, but so this will mark the first time the Cup final will be held outside of Vegas, which hosted the final for the first 3 years, and they also hosted the semifinals too. So Hinkle offers a special setting to capture the excitement and drama of the Emirates NBA Cup Championship. NBA head of global events Kelly Flato said, "Playing the championship in an iconic basketball environment like this will further establish it as a signature moment on the NBA calendar." But, I just think that in a way it's sad that you have to motivate the players to play games. I mean, the only thing is you can't get to the point where, because you would have the Players Association going off on the league. Well, if you're not going to play and you're not injured, you just don't get paid. Well, that would be a problem because you have past precedent and all that. So, but the arena holds about 9,100 seats. Played host to at least 6 presidents: Herbert Hoover, Dwight Eisenhower, Richard Nixon, Gerald Ford, Bill Clinton, and George H.W. Bush, along with the first U.S.-Soviet Union basketball games, circuses, tennis matches, ice shows, and even was used as a barracks for the U.S. military during World War II. So it's got a long history. And also, it was home to the famed Indiana High School basketball tournament for decades, including 1954 when tiny, I guess this is Milan High School. I think it's pronounced Milan, maybe Milan, but we'll call it Milan. They beat Muncie Central High to win the state title in the story that served as the inspiration for the classic movie Hoosiers, which used Hinkle as the set for the championship game. Oscar Robertson also played there. His Crispus Attucks High School team won state titles in 55 and 56. It's also been the site of NBA games in the past, along with WNBA games in 2022. So, but I mean, they're trying to do something different with the Cup, and I guess putting it in a more centralized part of the country makes sense too. I don't know what people feel about this, but especially if you're watching on my YouTube, I'll get those comments. I mean, you'll still be able to watch this on demand for a few weeks on my Twitch. By the way, you should follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/JoeQuills. I just think that if you're going, and also it's a more intimate setting, because I don't know how the attendance was last year for the NBA Cup final, but I think it's also a more intimate setting. So you also have, fans closer to thing, and this may be the same as the different events that Hinkle holds every year, college basketball wise. Now they can claim the NBA Cup if they want to keep it there, but it does seem like the NBA does want to go from college college campus to college campus. And, if you put it in intimate settings like Hinkle, the Palestra, um, you know, something where you can sell out the arena or just not have to worry about selling 15, 20,000 seats, it's a bit of a, it's also a bit of a throwback as well because, not all the arenas were 20,000 seats. I mean, like the arena in Milwaukee, that former arena, the Mecca, that only sat about 11, 12,000, which shocked me when I saw that. Uh, they still use that for University of Milwaukee or Wisconsin Milwaukee, whatever they call themselves this week. But, you know, may be able to do something like that. Um, so I would definitely say, maybe, give it a shot. I mean, Vegas served its purpose for the first couple of years. I'm imagining that the tickets didn't sell as well. So let's do Hinkle, and we'll go from there. So I think it's also a sign that maybe the NBA schedule will be out a little bit earlier this year than it has in past years. Because it used to be before the NBA Cup that the NHL schedule would be out like a Tuesday of a given week around the beginning of July, middle of July at the latest, and the NBA schedule would be the next day or vice versa because a lot of these arenas have um, dual um, habitation, for lack of a better term. Like Philadelphia has the Flyers and the Sixers. Boston has the Celtics and the Bruins. MSG has the Knicks and the Rangers. So you have to figure out, well, what nights do we have here and all that. And like, for example, if you're still listening to terrestrial radio, you also know that a lot of times these concerts that come to town, a lot of times they're planned out 8, 10, 12, 14 months in advance. And part of the reason why is these arenas have on there, depending on what the NBA gives us, we're setting aside this date short term for the Sixers and the Flyers. And then, oh, by the way, we'll then go to whatever. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what this is. And, it may even get me to watch that game, even though it's nothing more than an exhibition. Players playing for $1 million. But, getting to see NBA at a college arena like that would be interesting. And just to let you guys know, the lead in the NL East is down to 2.5. The Cardinals did their job and they beat the Braves 5-3. It is a final. The lead is down to 2.5. And I don't think the Braves are playing that bad because I saw that since Don Mattingly took over, I think the Braves are still over 500. I think 29-26. But the Phillies have definitely played well under Don Mattingly. I think it's like 40-18 or something crazy like that. 39-19. They finished 18-9 in June. So, like I said when Chairman of the Board was here earlier, you have to have two participants that help to make this close. You need a team that's sliding. You got a team that's taking advantage of the opportunity and winning when the other team's losing, and that's what's happening here. So, but all of a sudden, even though tomorrow is July 1st, the division is in play. Who would have thought that when the Phillies were 9-19? I digress. Final story I have tonight is going back to tonight's theme of, I think we've been down this road before. Serena Williams walked onto center court today at Wimbledon. And, you know, I will say this, and, you know, I don't think there were many times where she lost in the first round of the tournament because she won Wimbledon 7 times. That's 7 times she didn't lose in the first round. But um, her eagerly anticipated return to singles ended with a loss in the first round today. They played under the roof of center court today, and I didn't watch any of Wimbledon today, but um, the one thing is when the clock hits a certain time at Wimbledon, they shut the roof. They close the roof on the center court, and I think it's court 1 that has a roof on it as well. And the reason why they do that is, from what I understand, and just from watching, I haven't researched, but the lights that they have there, they don't take effect on the court unless the roof is closed. And they do have a pretty translucent roof as well, but they do have that roof. So she faced Maya Joint today. Maya Joint, not my joint, not your joint. Dave's not here, man. Sorry, I'm at a laptop at the moment. But the 20-year-old American-born Australian battled with Williams for 2 hours and 22 minutes. Joint defeated Williams 6-3, 6-7, 6-3. At the end of the match, Williams smiled and waved joyously to the crowd, which included her 8-year-old daughter, Olympia, as she walked off the court. I didn't watch the match. I didn't realize that that she was playing today. Probably should have did a better job of finding out when she was playing today. But they were all the crowd was cheering for her, and believe it or not, she's 44 years old now. It seems like she's, but then again, it seems like her and Venus have been playing for 44 years because they came onto the scene so young, and now they're both in their 40s. I think Venus is 46, 47, 48. But had Serena been victorious today, she would have been the oldest player to win a major singles match since 47-year-old Martina Navratilova did so at Wimbledon in 2004. And the one thing I will say as well, because I talked about it earlier in the show, about fitness and all that, Martina Navratilova was insanely into fitness and stuff like that, and that's why she played until she was almost 50 years old. That's why she did that. But, I mean, that's why she was in Wimbledon when she's 47-year-old winning matches. But Williams opted to skip speaking to media after the match, but she did say that she'd appreciate the experience in a provided statement. Williams said, "It's really great to be back in Wimbledon. I never expected to be here. The atmosphere was amazing. Walking out was amazing. I definitely relished it and missed it and enjoyed the moment more than anything." So it sounds like she's still going to pop up in Grand Slam events maybe. But, I mean, she can get what's called a wild card, where the way that they do these tournaments, especially the Grand Slams. The top 80, 90 people in the rankings get automatic bids. And there's situations where, past champions will get in with that. That's what the wild card is there for. They will have wild cards where, for example, with it being in outside of London, players from England, the UK, they will get wild cards and play in these matches. And then they have what's called qualifiers, where X amount of players will play up to three matches, depending on whatever. And if you win those three matches, you make it into the draw. Now, the numbers may be a little off there, but you do get 128 people in the tournament. It's 7 rounds. You have to win 7 matches. 7 matches, yeah, 7 matches to win the title. But so Williams received the wild card to play in the grass court major after announcing she will be returning to the sport earlier in the month. After news broke that Williams had re-entered the International Tennis Integrity Agency's registered testing pool on December 2nd last year, there had been intense speculation about a potential comeback. She denied it initially, but the rumors only grew louder. Anytime you hear something like this, no matter what superstar in whatever sport that has testing like this, you're going to have that. But she made a return. She made a return at the HSBC Championships at the Queen's Club, also in London. She played doubles in that event. Then in the following week, played doubles again. She was vague about a return to singles, but announced in Wimbledon's. Was announced as Wimbledon's final wild card just over a week ago. Now, I think the fact that she went 3 sets, and I would say did not embarrass herself. She was worthy of the wild card. So, I don't think there's any shame in the game. I mean, you hadn't played tennis competitively in 4 or 5 years. So what Williams said on Saturday, or Serena, I should say, I thought it's not every day Wimbledon holds a wild card for someone. I can name probably like a handful of people. I happen to be one of those people. I thought I should really take this opportunity. Who knows if I'd ever make it here again? That could be it. I mean, she evolved away from the sport following the U.S. Open in 22. She had a second daughter. I mean, she was serving. I mean, she had signs of rust in the opening set. She had her powerful ground strokes and serving prowess in the second set. Starting to look like the old Serena from what I'm gathering here. Recorded multiple serves over 120 miles per hour. But she ended up losing in 3 sets here today. So now Maya Join, who won, was a 2-time champion on the WTA Tour. This was a high point and a challenging year for her. She won just 3 single matches this season entering Tuesday's clash and had just won once since January. Playing in just her second main draw of her career at Wimbledon, she couldn't hide how much the moment meant to her when speaking on court after the win. She said, "I didn't get much sleep last night. I was up until 2 a.m. just thinking about it. Walking out, I forgot the warm-up. I didn't know what happened. My legs weren't moving. I really don't know how I got a pretty good start to the match." I mean, she has such an arm. And that's the thing. It's like you look up and it's like, holy shit, I'm playing Serena Williams. But the thing is with tennis is they have different tiers. At least they used to, where the top however many seeded players in the world are in the main the main tourney, or is what they call the what did they call it here? Well, it's a WTA tour, but I thought there was another name for it. But there's different tiers. There's like a challenger system where it's a second level, and the arenas get smaller and stuff like that as well. But you're trying to build points so you can get to the majors and everything else. So, but good. I mean, like I said, I didn't watch the match, but I think that she did hold herself rather well, considering it was her first singles match on tour in 4 years. So, but she's still doing doubles. She's going to be partnered with her sister Venus. And I'm sure that's going to be on TV all week, as long as the two of them are in. And who knows? Maybe they find a way to win women's doubles. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me one bit. So, just to let you guys know, I did mention that numerous tracks have canceled or pushed times forward this week. Horseshoe Indy canceled for tomorrow. Belterra in Cincinnati canceled. Parks is starting at 10:45 tomorrow morning, the last I saw. Delaware Park is starting at 11. Colonial Downs is starting early the next couple of days. Trying to beat the heat, but still getting the cards in. Park's already canceled for Thursday. Delaware Park, I think, canceled Thursday and Friday. All these changes are even wreaking havoc with my Quills Picks winners, which will return tomorrow. Matter of fact, the race probably just went off. And I think from what I saw here, my horse finished second again. Let's see here. Because I think I said 7-9. Yeah, I said 7-9, 7-9-2-5, but the 9 closed late for the win here in this race here. There is an inquiry on here, so maybe I get lucky. So I saw like the last 5 seconds of the race here, but no winner for me. So we've started out with a cold. We ended up with a cold streak. I gave you a big winner early in the month. But this Saturday, also eligible live from Saratoga, weather permitting. I think they will get the race in, but it is going to be hot. So just to let you guys know. Damn, I hope, you know what? I hope you guys took my advice here. Saratoga, we'll be looking at that. We'll still be live on the 4th of July at 10 a.m. So just to let you guys know, if you had played a 7-9 exacta, that was 11-1 with the 9 over my pick, Clippity Cop, not Clippity Clop, Clippity Cop at 9-1. So I hope that you played that, because that 9-7 exacta paid $81 for $1. But we did not get the win here to close out the month. But I almost forgot about the race tonight, because we're talking about Quills Picks winners. So I'm like, oh yeah, Tuesday's Assiniboia Downs tonight. for whatever reason. But ended up finishing second again. But yeah, there is an inquiry because it looks like the 5 refused to run. Did get held up by the gate crew there, so I don't know. Yeah, it looks like that 5 is going to get scratched. Will be considered a non-runner, and that 11-1 over 9-1 will get knocked down a little bit. But anyways, so that's going to be it for this show. Shorter show tonight, but I will be back on Thursday night, weather permitting, because I did say last Thursday night, there would be no show. Well, since Park's canceled, we are going to be back on Thursday night for this week. We may take Thursdays off the rest of the month because content for Q&A racing on Facebook, so, and other things that AJ wants to use my stuff for. But yeah, so we'll be back on Thursday this week. Get you ready for the holiday weekend, and who knows what else happens. So, but I do appreciate each and every one of you watching on the different platforms tonight, on X, on my YouTube, on my Twitch, and on the Bleacher Brothers Facebook. And let's do it live again Thursday night at 9 o'clock. Yeah, you heard me right.
Do it live! Do it live! Do it live! Who the fuck is that guy?
I had to. But anyways, do appreciate each and every one of you. Go to twitch.com/Joe Quills. Follow and subscribe to that page, as I'm now an affiliate on there. And I'll see you on Thursday night for another edition of Joe Quills Show. So have a great night, everybody. And I'll see you guys in the Winter Circle.